Cool.
Mm.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pebbles Rebels. I'd like to start off by acknowledging the traditional custodians of our land and pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging. And my name is Janu, and I live with NF1.
I'm Kirsty and I also live with an F1.
I'm Kira, and I also live with an F1.
And I'm Bernie, and I live with NF1.
So everyone, we kind of stuffed up with our first episode.
We definitely
We
did.
we didn't do the basics and explain what is NF or what is neurofibromatosis. And well, all four of us have NF1, but there are three types of neurofibromatosis. So there's neurofibromatosis type 1, neurofibromatosis type 2, and schwannomatosis.
Surprisingly, it's not called NF3.
Different, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's different
So,
stories for everybody. No
Mm.
two cases are alike,
yes,
which helps
yes.
contribute to making it so notoriously difficult to
Yeah.
diagnose, which that is a fair point to some doctors, but
Yeah.
yeah.
A- And not just that, it also makes it very hard for people to keep on top of things because nobody knows what's going to happen next.
No one
So,
knows what's normal, what's not, and it's frustrating at times.
And
so
completely unpredictable.
should we
Hmm.
start off with a nutshell explanation of what neurofibromatosis is?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so it is a set of genetic conditions that causes tumors to grow all throughout the body wherever there are nerve endings. And as we all know, there are nerve endings everywhere in the body. So that means the brain, the spine, your optical nerves, so your eyes or your auditory nerves, your ears. It can grow in your limbs, it can grow on your skin. And yeah, that is, I
Yeah.
guess, a natural explanation of what neurofibromatosis is.
Heart, lungs, anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anyway,
And I
yeah.
think
I
And
from memory, the NF1 is to change with the 17th chromosome. And I think
yes, it's a
it's affected with one of the other types from memory.
yeah.
correct.
So
So go ahead, Kira.
um I've always been told that NF1 is a malfunction of chromosome 17. And then NF2 is the malfunction of chromosome 22. Um, so the way let me put my tea down. So the way I was explained to about how chromosomes work, each chromosome is a book, and each page is a different strand of that chromosome. And if there is a spelling mistake on that page, that means you get that type of genetic condition. And that's how I explain it to absolutely everyone. And it's just the easiest way for people who are visual learners to see it visually. And it's just the best way I was told as a child.
So for your visual learners,
Yeah.
put a little photo in the video for you to have a look at if you're looking at it as a video. Otherwise, you can head to probably the Children's Dream Foundation website and they'll have a bit more of an explanation on there as well.
And I've
So
been told a couple of times that with the nerves, with the neurofibromas, it's nerves growing, but the body doesn't know when to stop them growing. And that's when we get the horrible lumps
Yeah.
on
correct.
us.
So think of like a car that doesn't have a brake pedal. So chromosome 17, where the I guess the mutation has happened, um, it basically is responsible. There is a protein called neurofibromin, and that is responsible for sending the stop message to the body to say, hey, stop growing. And that is what causes the tumors to grow because that message isn't there.
We also mentioned in our last episode that neurofibromatosis actually has a scientific name of, I think it was Recklinghausen's disease,
Yes.
Von
Von
Reckling
Reckling.
Hansen.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to give you an idea of the variety of symptoms that NF causes, so in my case, I have a lot of external tumors on my skin and some very big ones, which you can't see on camera right now because it is winter in Australia and or getting close to winter and I am very cold, so I am all covered up. But I also have a lot of internal tumors, including a very big one on my sciatic nerve, which is literally a pain in the butt, as I like to joke.
Which
Bernie, would
we
you
call
like,
Chad.
yes, which we
Yeah.
call Chad. So if there's any really nice people named Chad out there, I am so sorry. Bernie, would you like to share about your NF stuff?
Sure. Well, in the first podcast, I said that I was diagnosed at birth, so I wasn't on a horrible journey figuring out what's wrong with this kid. So my parents were onto it relatively early, but that doesn't mean it makes it easier because there was still plenty of doctor's appointments, plenty of scans, always going to the ophthalmologist. Um, and because people with NF generally have bad coordination, I had to do lots of coordination exercises. I mean, I didn't even learn to walk until I was almost 2.5.
Same.
So, hey, I don't feel so bad now. But I hated it because I wasn't explained to me why I had to do these exercises. I mean, I always knew I was always bad at sports, but my parents never told me why. And always getting extra tutoring after school as well with English and maths. Maths in particular, maths was always my uh, tough subject.
Did you
And just
have
yeah,
any
like
physical
so.
manifestations, Bernie? Like any sort of internal, external tumors, any pain?
Just the one in my left optic nerve. Um, it diminished my sight, but I couldn't actually tell myself that my sight had diminished a little bit. Only when I went for the zillions of tests that they have you do, like the field tests, the eye charts, the color charts. I had to stare at a big screen, like a checkered screen, for
Yeah.
about 10 minutes at the dot, and the screen moves, but I couldn't, wasn't allowed to move my eye. Am I right? The brain compensated for that. So, um, and just a few external tumors, like a few on my face, a few on my arms, during my teenage years. But I have to say, I'm probably one of the luckiest people who have NF1, if you can be lucky, considered lucky, because I've come through it compared to a lot of other people unscathed. But it still doesn't stop the bullying I had during school because I was always so skinny and the big head. I mean, yeah, the kids were relentless with that.
Yeah, kids can be brutal.
And I was always in the low class at school and I always felt dumb. And yeah, just the learning difficulties. Probably I've suffered through the most with the learning difficulties. And it's only now that I'm in my late 40s that the lumps are really starting to come through. Luckily, not many on my face or arms, but once the shirt comes off, I try to deal with it. Like I take my shirt off at the beach, um, just saying stuff what other people think. I don't care. I'm not going to see them again. Um, I actually went and saw a psychologist several years ago because I was always so bad with self confidence, mainly because probably of the NF1.
Yeah.
And yeah, she gave me some exercises, mental exercises to do, which helped me a lot. I mean, I still got that because I thought I was so dumb for all those years. It's hard to get out of that mindset.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, slowly I'm trying to teach myself. It doesn't matter what other people think. You're not going to see them. Who cares anyway?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's basically it for me. I mean, yeah, I can't say much because yeah, I'm so lucky compared to other people.
I think also
Yeah.
mentioned that NF does affect approximately 1 in 2,000 births. As
1 in 2,000.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
one in 2,000.
unless it's changed.
So
Yeah.
I think I shared this in the last episode, but fun fact, NF is actually more common than cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, and Huntington's disease combined. So if you took
Yes.
people with those three conditions and brought them all together, there'd still be more people with NF than those people.
Yep.
But more people have heard of those conditions than they have NF, so which
Yep.
is kind of crazy.
Pretty
So
Really
wild. We
is.
just need a celebrity to have it to get that
there was a
thing.
somewhat celebrity who had it. So
Wasn't she in
um,
Degrassi?
no, well, yes, there was her, but there was also so Gillian Anderson, the lady that was on the X-Files, if anyone remembers,
Oh,
I
her
thought her
younger
sister
brother,
had it,
her
or
younger
was it?
brother had it. Her younger
Yeah.
brother had it, and he actually passed away due to NF complications.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
there was an episode on Bones a couple of years ago that my mum made me watch because at the end of it, Ruth went to this fundraiser for the Children's Tumor Foundation. And I think it was the director's son has it, and
yeah,
they implemented it to try and raise that awareness of it, which was really
yeah.
exciting at the time, being I don't know, maybe 13, 14 years old and seeing my genetic condition in like
So
a
cool, right?
fantasy show, and it's a real genetic condition. I got so excited.
I saw that. I saw that.
I've
And
Oh,
seen
I
it mentioned.
constantly go and watch it.
Pardon me. Sorry, guys. I'm a
it was
bit.
on Chicago Med as well.
It was on NCIS. It's been in the House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been in
Yes.
Body of Proof. So it's been in multiple TV shows. And they've
Yeah.
sort of mentioned it. And some of them, they get the facts really right, and
Yeah.
others,
Yeah.
Nuts.
Well, also,
they
Jen,
kind of play fast and loose.
you
And
were
others you go,
kind of
I feel like doing the Tom Cruise thing in Top Gun, like bullshit.
Yeah. There was actually like, and it was a movie about a man who had neurofibromatosis and he was a murderer. And I kind of didn't like it because it kind of portrayed someone with NF in a really bad light. And
Mm.
so I was kind of like, oh my God, cool, NF in mainstream media, but also, yeah.
But Jenna,
Yeah.
you
Anyway,
insider, didn't you, as well, a little while ago?
sorry.
Oh, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I was. I
Yeah.
was. And so I kind of don't like the way it was sort of portrayed like NF in that movie because it kind of made people with NF kind of look like evil or bad people. And yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, let's circle back to what we were doing. So Kira, would you like to share your NF experience?
So I, like Bernie, I have been extremely fortunate in my journey aside from all the bullying. I don't have many external tumors. I've got one on my chin. I've got one in my cheek, which you can feel, but you can't see.
Hmm.
This is going to sound really weird, but I've got one in my palate, in my top palate. Um, when I do open my mouth, you can actually see it.
Well, there are
Um,
nerve cells there, so
yeah. I will circle back to that. Um, it's probably been the last maybe 2 years or so I've noticed a lot more growths on my body, but I've got a lot more internal ones as well. So it's like my chest, behind one of my knees, I don't know which one. Yeah, palate, base of my skull. I've got a syrinx in my spine, and I've got another
sorry, can you repeat that, sorry?
a syrinx. I think it's I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember, but I think it's if some of the fluid in the brainstem is actually down in my spine. So
Ooh,
they found that a couple of years ago, I think, maybe a decade ago through a MRI.
yeah.
Um, So I think in the last episode I mentioned that I had major bottom jaw surgery.
Yep.
So I had a open bite that was caused by my tumor in my cheek because it goes up underneath my eye and it was digging into my bone down in my bottom jaw, was pushing my jaw to the side. And this was actually picked up by a nurse at Westmead Children's Hospital. And because I would go down every 6 weeks because I was on a medication trial, and she could physically see my jaw moving. Um, so I had to fix that. I had so going back to the tumor in my palate, I had a very narrow, very high arched jaw palate. So my jaw was basically the start of a cleft palate. So I had an expansion in my top jaw for 6 months, and we had to turn that once a day, and that hurt. That really
Sounds
hurt.
painful.
Mm.
It's like after I could feel it like in my sinuses, the pain, like right in my sinuses. Um and so I had that in my jaw for 6 months. I got that taken out, braces put on. I had braces from 2014, I think, till end of 2018. So I had braces for a very long time. But I then the maxillofacial surgeon, Lydia Lim, God, I love her. She's in Chatswood. Shout out to her. If you need a maxillofacial surgeon, ask for Lydia Lim. She is hands down the best. So yeah, I had anchor plates put in my jaw, so I had here and here. For those listening, two on the top and two on the bottom, which were then hooked up to my braces to help realign my jaw. And then once that got to the point where I no longer needed them, I got them taken out at the same time I had bottom jaw surgery. So what they did is they physically broke my jaw, they moved it over, and they've brought it forward because I also had an off bite as well. I will find my scans and I will post them on the Instagram for those who want to see it. Um, and but we avoided top jaw surgery because where my surgeon needed to cut was where my tumor was sitting. So we thankfully avoided top jaw surgery, and I think that's the only major that is the only major thing I had done. I was on a soft food diet, puree diet for I was on a puree diet for 2 months, and then soft food diet for another 6 weeks.
Wow.
Doesn't sound
Yes.
like fun.
I lost 10 kilos in a week because
I was about to say, how much weight did you lose?
10 kilos in a week, and it took me maybe a year and a half to gain those 10 kilos back.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me a very long time. Um, that's the only major thing I've had done because of my NF. I haven't had needed anything to be removed or anything like that, but however, in 2 weeks, week and a half, I am going down to the skin clinic to see one of the nurses there to see if we can start cutting some off. Um,
Amazing.
Which
Is
skin
it at
clinic?
Royal North Shore?
yeah, at Royal North. So I've got two on my pant line, one just above my bottom, and then the other one on my front. I can't wear belts because they sit on there and they just rub and rub and rub, and it just
And it's
hurt.
not comfortable. Yeah.
And then gonna get very TMI here, guys. I've got one on my breast. It does get quite annoying, that one, so we're gonna see if we can get that one cut off, and then the one on my chin as well, which I've been told it's a pimple by some of my children at work, and I'm like, I'm not gonna argue with a 4-year-old.
No, no point arguing with a 4-year-old.
Clear
Oh,
understand what neurofibromatosis is, you won't be able to.
No. No.
I do have a story about trying to explain NF to a child, but that's for another day. Kirsty, your turn in the hot seat.
So I was diagnosed in primary school, and that was by the cafe latte spots, predominantly on the headaches. That's a key indicator for NF1, with approximately 6 is sort of the typical number that they look for to be able to sort of be sort of confident, I guess, in diagnosing it without genetic testing.
You
I,
meant cafe, right?
sorry, yeah.
Someone needs a coffee. She's a bit sleepy.
Um, yeah, they do look like almost latte spots, to be honest. And
Yeah,
I got constant headaches in primary school. So I was in peds in Adelaide for quite a bit with that, with doctors
yeah.
not really knowing what to do. They kept throwing different blood thinners at me, thinking that would help solve the issue, which it didn't. And then as an adult, I sort of, I guess, started to learn more about the CTF, and through them got in touch with Royal North Shore Hospital, um, and sort of had a little bit more, I guess, understanding since then. I had my MRIs from like I think high school, and I didn't do the first spinal one until I was in my 20s. And following my one I had in February or January this year, I've since had a PET scan as well, to see what my tumor inside of my body is doing. All of mine are predominantly inside. However, I've got a few that are on my head, which you can't see under my hair, which is kind of nice, but also, yeah, it's still frustrating, to sort of navigate the systems to
Yeah,
supports. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Also, I had quite a few learning difficulties in school. Um, but weirdly in high school, particularly when I was in the public school system, the school obviously realized that I had a lot of potential, so did put me in like the advanced classes, which provided I had the right teacher, I actually
yeah,
sort of did reasonably well in. But that came down to having the right supports in the class. Like, despite having NF and the difficulty that comes with it, we can still be incredibly smart, with the right
yeah.
support.
Oh
Like,
yeah, definitely.
spelling and grammar, well, it's still that's still questionable. But had, I guess, the intellectual potential, particularly with like more verbal communication, to excel. Written communication
Yeah,
was more of a challenge.
yeah. I was better verbally as well. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I did,
same.
uni were pretty good towards the end and let me do a bit more of those sort of presentation type assessments, with my support plan that I had to put in place. But
Mm.
that wasn't always possible for some assignments depending on the weighting and all that kind of stuff. But it's really important, I think, with the condition, to learn to be able to advocate for yourself, and yeah.
Yeah.
This is my dad, by the way. He's going to be on the thing now, on the camera. He
Hi,
also,
Kirsty's dad.
Hi.
Hi.
Um,
Oh,
so I'm actually kind of glad that, like, all of you brought it up. That is one of the other things that NF does cause is learning difficulties and hand-eye coordination issues. And
definitely.
so I guess this is a call out to parents of young children with NF who are about to start school. It's a really good idea to get ahead of it and actually talk to your kids' school and just let them know and
Mm.
kind of give them a heads up that, these are the supports your child might need because it will make their journey a lot more smoother.
I didn't.
And
Oh, definitely.
as painful as it is, well, now that I understand it, but if you must communicate with your child as early as possible and do
Yes.
those coordination exercises, because my teachers, because my parents always spoke to the teachers, of course, but my teachers knew when I did and didn't do them.
Mm.
Yeah.
It did help me immensely. Um, and with the
Yeah.
spelling and grammar and everything, I used to read, and I still not so much these days because it's hard, full time job, being a dad and everything. Um, Read as much as possible, whether it's just a newspaper article, your favorite author,
Mm.
because psychologically, well, not, sorry, wrong word. Um, you just pick up the words, and
Yeah.
then without even knowing it, you're learning how to do the correct spelling, the correct grammar. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
definitely those are for the
And
parents out there.
have the conversation with your kids and
Yeah.
just let them know what is going on, and obviously in an age appropriate way.
Yeah.
And also make sure they don't feel like yes, like they know that they are different from other kids, but just let them know that different doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Bad.
In primary school, I didn't start netball until I was in like year five because I had lack of coordination. And it was actually because my, I think year three teacher picked up I had issues with my eyesight and referred me to an optometrist that was like really good who gave me exercise for not only my eyes but also coordination. And that made a huge difference.
See,
So I think
my
also
my
teachers sort of can help pick up. That's a huge support as well for
mm,
students, but also as parents, like if you
yeah.
notice that your child's struggling, like seek out support, ask questions. There are, organizations like
Mm,
ETF out there to help support you and your child.
yeah. Yeah, I think wasn't until year seven for me where my maths teacher, Mrs. Hunt, picked up that I had dyslexia.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. Anyway, we've told our stories. Janu, have you told
Yeah, I
yours?
went first.
Oh yeah.
Um, so So the other thing that I did want to jump
Sweet.
in and say, NF does, aside from the tumors, there are a couple of other things that NF does cause. One of them is scoliosis, which is the curvature of the spine, and another one is bone deformities. So it can cause bone deformities, and that can
Mm,
also result in sometimes people having to have limbs amputated, and obviously with the scoliosis, sometimes people need like surgery for a with a
yeah.
rod to sort of correct the scoliosis. It can so some of those tumors can also get very large and can cause sort of disfigurement. So
Mm,
there are people with severe sort of disfigurement in their sort of
yeah.
face as a result of it, or even in their torso. So or the rest of their body. So yeah, they are some of the gamut of things that can happen. And yeah, and so NF is actually progressive. So what that means is that the condition actually evolves and over time it just sort of, I guess, well, progresses. So
Yeah,
things
gets
Progresses,
worse.
changes,
get worse. Yeah.
hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so yeah, hormones can also affect it as well. So pregnancy,
Mm,
puberty,
yeah.
And also, I know for girls in particular, it can actually mean that you go through puberty a bit earlier as well.
Yeah.
At least in my case, it did. I don't know about you guys, but
I was late-ish.
I
Oh,
was
I was
I was
early.
I, I was on time. Literally a couple of days before my 13th. I was so mad. Um, but like I have a friend who has a tumor on their pituitary gland, I think. And
Yep.
from memory from a story that I was told by their mum, she actually started at 5, but then she was on medication to hold it off
Yeah,
until it was
puberty
time.
blockers.
And it was,
Yeah.
yeah, puberty
Wow.
blockers. Yeah.
I started when I was 10, so
Oh no.
yeah. So yeah.
I was younger than that. But it was a challenging time being younger than that and going through the changes. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. How about we take turns? Bernie, because you're sort of at the bottom of the screen under me, I'll start with you. What is one thing that you wish people knew about living with NF?
I think the learning difficulties, um, and it is once again different for everyone. But sometimes just not being able to grasp things like other people do. Like a teacher will go into a class and go, right, this is it. and that could be great for like 90, 95% of the class, but for, for us, we got to kind of learn a different way. And just, yeah, we just learn differently. And the memory retention, which is a big thing for people who have NF, you can remember things from 20 years ago, not something that was
We
discussed
learned in another
yesterday.
class yesterday.
Yes, I can relate to that so well.
And it's like, oh, how come you can't remember that, you dumb idiot? And like, and I feel sorry for my wife and kids sometimes because I can remember, yeah, like I said, things from ages ago, but things from a week ago is like, what? So
Mm,
I think that's my biggest one of my biggest pet peeves with the NF, the learning difficulties. Because it's just made schooling so hard. And even when I was starting to become a chef, I had a passion, a burning ambition to become a chef. And you can be as passionate about something as you want, but that doesn't mean learning makes it any easier.
Mm.
mm.
Mm. All
So
right, Kira, your turn.
That tumors are not always cancerous. It gets me every time. Like I, because sometimes I talk about it to one of my close friends at work, and this other educator will overhear it, and she goes, "What? You've got tumors? You've got cancer?" It's like, no, all of mine are benign, but they can turn cancerous. But tumors are my normal. She then turns to me and says, but tumors aren't normal. They're not supposed to be normal. And it just like, I just end up walking away
Yeah,
from that.
yeah,
It's like,
they are. Yeah,
tumors are my everyday. It's like,
she's
if,
not wrong though. Like, we shouldn't have. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be,
yeah,
normal, but it
it's
is,
our
and
normal.
it's
It's
our
like,
normal.
sorry, one second, I'm going to mute. Sorry, I'm a little bit unwell at the moment, guys. Um, it's like whenever we go for an MRI, CT scan, and they find a new tumor, we're like, oh, okay, it's just something else we have to. Oh well, it's just water off water off our back, really, because it's what we know, and
Mm.
we're expected to get new tumors nearly every single scan, and sometimes you don't, and that's a huge win. But then
it's a
there's
bit hard
times you
not to
got a
hit the
new,
panic button sometimes, though.
yeah, it's like, but I just try and explain it. It's like all of mine are benign. Like
Mm.
they can turn cancerous, but I'm not at that stage yet. I'm comfortable and I'm happy, and I'm more than happy to talk about all my tumors and where they are. But yeah, tumors are not cancerous. All our tumors are not cancerous. Yeah.
Yep. All right, your turn, Kirsty.
I think for me, I think a key takeaway for people is to know that everyone's NF journey is different. And no two stories are the same. I think with other conditions like, people sort of get in this habit of, oh, well, if you've got that type of condition, everyone else has the same sort of outcome. Whereas with NF, it's vastly different. Some people, are fortunate enough to have all benign tumors. Others actually then their tumors do turn cancerous, and it's a lifelong journey we have to live, and continually have monitored for our own well-being long term.
Yeah.
Definitely. What about you, Janu? Janu, sorry.
It's probably like because I guess of the four of us, my NF is most prominent sort of visually. So I guess like for me, all three of the things you said as well, but for me it's also being kind goes a long way. Just just I wish people would just be kind and not make you feel like you're a freak.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would probably be it.
definitely.
Yeah. And actually it's interesting. Like I'll share this story now. I was in my psychologist's office and this little boy kind of went up to his dad and said, "Dad, why does that lady have bumps all over her skin? And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be awkward. But then the dad was actually amazing. And he sort of said to the kid, if you ask her really politely, she might tell you. And it was really good because that also gave me the opportunity to say no if I didn't feel like talking about it.
Yeah.
But the thing
Mm.
is, so this kid was like, I think 8 years old tops. And I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to explain to an 8-year-old child a genetic condition and blah blah blah? And I'm internally panicking. And not because I had to sort of talk about my NF, but it was more, how on earth am I going to explain this to such a young child? So the kid came up and he asked really, really politely. So I just fumbled the best explanation I could. And I was like, oh, you know how some people are born with white skin and some people are born with brown skin?
Yeah.
And I said, some people are born with bumps on their skin and some people are born without bumps on their skin. And, some of my bumps hurt, some of them don't. And that's what happened. And I was waiting for like the follow-up question because kids always have a follow-up question.
Oh, yes.
And then the kid just went, oh, okay. And then ran off.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
all right. I guess the explanation worked, and the dad said thank you, and that was that.
mm,
And I think sometimes, like parents get really embarrassed and awkward when their kids ask questions, but it's actually a great opportunity to have a conversation with your child
yeah.
about appearance differences. So when they grow into adults, they will be kinder, unlike
Yeah.
current crop of
Yeah.
adults who can sometimes be very cynical and disbelieving, especially when you tell them there's actually nothing that can be done except for surgery to remove the tumors, and obviously
Mm,
thousands of surgeries in my case, and how it's not practical, and they don't believe you.
I think
Yeah.
part of it
Oh, you should get
is,
a second opinion, and you should do this and you should do that. And it's like, yeah, thanks, but
hmm, I think part of it as well is actually really encouraging to, I think, encourage children to ask questions just in a respectful way. Like there's a way to do it, and I think it's a good thing to encourage children to be inquisitive, but it's encouraging
yes,
in a way that is respectful to all parties involved, which is it's
100%.
taken on it as
oh,
a child.
definitely.
They're set up for adulthood, like you know, it's
Even for adults, like curiosity is a natural thing, but there is a kind and respectful way to ask. And
Definitely.
this
For
father
sure.
did it really well. He said to the child, ask really politely. And he's clearly done well because the kid, like in t teaching this child how to ask politely, because he was super polite and I was so
Mm,
impressed. And all
Some
I can
kids
say,
have no filter.
yeah, I
yeah.
don't know if this dad will ever see this, but if he does, all I can say to him is 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah. It's like at work, like I've said before about my little tumor on my chin that I have.
Mm.
My kids, the older children always come up to me and go, "What's that?" And they start playing with it. I go, "Oh, it's just a special lump that's a part of my body. I was born with it, but it doesn't hurt me." And that's I just leave it at that. And then
Yeah.
Hmm.
when my nephew plays with it, I call it my bite button. So as soon as he touches it, I go, and like I don't bite him, but like I do the
Chomp at
motion,
him.
and he thinks it's absolutely hilarious.
How old is he?
He will be 6 in June.
Okay, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that age, that kind of thing
July?
would just be
June or
hysterical.
July? I don't know. Maybe July. 6 in July.
Auntie Kira.
how dare you?
Well, I've got two nieces and a nephew, but then I've got a lot of other nieces and nephews that aren't biologically mine.
I'm just messing.
I've got a lot of birthdays to remember, and I remember nearly every single one of them. Give me a break.
Yeah, I rely on like calendars to do that for me.
Oh, even
It's
with a calendar, it can
always
be hard to remember.
True.
it's always my niece Amelia and my nephew Jensen. I can never remember who comes first. I think Amelia is 2 weeks after my sister in June, and I think Jensen is July, I think. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of
I've got a lot of
birthdays,
birthdays to remember.
it's Janu's birthday on the 13th.
Oh, happy birthday to you.
Oh no. Yes.
On Wednesday.
But you know what?
Yes.
This episode won't come out until after that. So, unless one of you know it
Mm.
beforehand, you're safe from this
Yes.
part of it. But Instagram,
I th I think I
so
think
I've
we'll
got
have to do a very special appreciation post on our Instagram.
I've got to say though, it would have been kind of hilarious if my birthday was actually the 17th of May. That would have been kind of apt.
well,
Yeah.
I think I
Yes.
post the episode early if I get it.
Mm.
No.
Mm.
No, I'm kidding. But thank you, Bernie.
No worries.
Yes, I'm turning 25.
20.
Wink. Yes. That's what I say now.
Ah,
Like, I say I'm 25 and that my age needs to be adjusted for inflation.
my mother and stepdad, they keep reminding me that I'm nearly 30, and I tell them to go away not very nicely. I'll be 30 next year.
Oh.
I tell them to go away not very nicely.
Well, I can say I'm just 25, but with 22 years experience.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
My
yes, Bernie is
and
the adult of the group, of the four of
Yeah,
us. He's the sensible one
definitely.
who
sensible,
kept us in line,
please.
Really?
who kept us in line on the car trip to Canberra.
Something a
Really
bit,
did.
something a bit off topic. They say people with NF have a shorter life expectancy, which
Yes.
which really sucks. But a huge shout out to my mum. Next month she'll be turning 80. So, and
Take that, NF.
uh, I went over to my mum's today just because being the good son, Mother's Day and all, and I asked her if she'd be willing to participate in the podcast, and she said yes.
Amazing. Yeah.
So, and yeah, she's literally had thousands and thousands of the tumors removed for, yeah, over the last 45 years that I know of. She's had some like excised out, electrodissection removed, but she's had huge complications because of NF. I think she's had some in her bowels and she had to have about 6 feet of bowel removed.
Ooh,
Um,
that's
yeah.
hardcore.
Um, yeah, she's always had issues with the bowels. We almost lost her at one stage. I can't remember if that was NF related or not, but that was a scary time.
Yeah.
And my dad being as blunt as ever. Sometimes my dad's not very good with the emotions. And I knew mum was going in for surgery, and he texted me at work saying, she's going in now, hope for the best. It's not a low risk surgery.
Yeah.
Good
So it's like,
Lord.
geez, thanks. Just what I needed to
Just a
hear.
little blunt.
You could have said it a bit more diplomatically than that,
Mm.
but
Yeah. So just for those who missed out from the first episode, Bernie actually inherited his NF from his mum. So if a person has NF, there is a 50% chance that their child will have NF. And if both the parents have NF, there is a 75% chance that the child will inherit NF. And I know the math probably seems strange on that one, and we will
Yeah.
actually dive into that in a future podcast episode. We are going to
Yes.
get someone who is smarter than us and more sciencey than us to actually explain how that works with
Yep.
a diagram and everything. I do remember learning about this in high school about, the Punnett squares and whatnot, but high school was a long time ago and I've kind of forgotten. So we'll get
High
someone
school.
who
Yeah, we'll get
knows
someone
what
in.
they're talking about and they will
Yeah.
explain the way it is inherited.
I think also
Mm.
to recap for everyone else,
mm.
I had an F because dad was one spontaneous mutation. So dad was born with it, but his parents didn't have it. And then
Yep.
obviously he had it, I then had it, got it from him.
Yep.
Mm.
And in my case and Kira's case, we're spontaneous. We are
Yeah,
the 1 in 2,500, or when I was born, it was 1 in 3,000. So
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Although with
I think.
me,
Sorry, Kira.
um, it's too far in in the family line, but my nan's cousin's son also has NF, but it's just too far in the family to be
yeah.
connected.
It
But I
wouldn't, and
find
it
it,
wouldn't be anyway, and it wouldn't be anyway
mm,
because NF is what's called autosomal dominant. I hope I pronounced that correctly, which basically means that a person has to have it in order to pass it on. It's not
mm,
like something that can skip a generation.
yeah,
So in my case, like I have it. If just say I did hypothetically have a child who didn't have it, it doesn't mean that their child can then inherit it from
mm,
me because their
Yeah.
their parent was a carrier. If my child didn't have it and they go on to have a child, then it goes back to that 1 in 2,500,
thousand.
1 in
Yeah,
3,000.
It's also my understanding, like, because my mum was a spontaneous one, but her father was quite old when she was conceived. He was, I think, early to mid 50s. Um, they say, well, it's probably like with a lot of these things, the older you are, the more likely you are to have pass on a genetic
mm,
disease if you're older.
And just also, I should point out that NF2 actually has a much lower prevalence than NF1. So NF2, I think it's like something like 1 in 30,000 or 1 in 40,000.
isn't it 25,000?
That's a good question. You know what? I'm in front of a computer. I'm going to Google this.
Yeah, I think
Oh, I was just going to do
NF1
the same
is
thing.
2,500, NF2 is 25,000, schwannomatosis, I think, is 40,000.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So NF2 is 1 in 25 to 33,000, and schwannomatosis is the 1 in 50 to 60,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, beat me to it. Yep.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, so again, and it's the same thing with NF2. It's a 50% chance that it can be passed on, and then 75 if both parents has it. Now, if you have NF1, it doesn't mean your child could possibly inherit NF2. And same with if you have NF2, it's not likely that your child will inherit NF1 because they are two separate chromosomes. So if you have NF2, then it goes back to that 1 in 3,000 chance of your child having NF1. And
yeah,
if you have NF1, then it's 1 in whatever thousand for the other two kinds of NF.
Hmm.
But again, we will get a sciencey person to explain that.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us here are scientists, are we?
no, I'm
No.
an early childhood educator.
Maybe occasionally
And what?
at my OSH job when I'm doing, things in Tanner Kids, but I
Yes.
don't think that classes me as a scientist per se. I could try, but I think I'll be lying.
It's
And I work in
science.
finance and tech, so definitely no science here.
I think this.
Yeah, and
You go,
And
Bernie.
Bernie, you are
I was just going to say I work in warehouse and logistics.
Close enough.
no
I think,
science.
yeah, I think the most sciencey I get at work is a volcano experiment
Elephant
with
Is
the
tooth.
that the one where
children
you put the baking soda and the
and
vinegar and it?
vinegar. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
most
I think
sciencey
the
thing I'll do at work.
And it's kind of like elephant
I think the
toothpaste.
most sci- I think the most sciencey thing I ever did was become a chef because really that kind of is a science,
True.
isn't it? Like cooking, your act of cooking, you're
You experiment
chemically
with
and
food.
physically altering. Yes, exactly.
I love experimenting in the kitchen when it goes
So
well.
do I.
Same.
Except for when it goes
Yeah.
horribly wrong.
Yeah.
See,
And
like,
And it goes
I
horribly.
would actually say that baking is more of a science than cooking because you've got to get the proportions right, otherwise it won't rise
yeah,
correctly or
I
come
mean,
out.
I've
Whereas,
got
Oh,
allergies
exactly.
too, which makes my life fun. And
yeah.
so you're adding gluten and sometimes lactose intolerance. And then I can't have buckwheat, which is often using gluten-free cooking.
Yeah.
because it's a gluten-free ingredient,
Really?
which people don't realize. And then I have weird allergies like raw carrot, cucumber, watermelon. What else? I keep forgetting half my allergies. But yeah, I've got 7 allergies and
That's a little concerning, Kirsty,
That
that you
is
forget your allergies.
concerning.
I remember them when I have to. It's been a
So
long time.
does this mean when we hang out, we're going to have an EpiPen on hand just in
I'm not
case?
that bad, thankfully. I got woken up at 20 to 5 this morning. So my brain is not caffeinated enough at all.
Yep, yep. And I would even say, like, I feel like cooking is more of an art than a science because
Mm,
you get to mix and, like, it's sort of like, play with flavors and
yeah. But like when I'm cooking my dinner, like I'll drag like all my stuff out that I have and I'm like, yeah, just a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And I can just look at something and go, yep, 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 yep. Those will taste good together and it does 90% of the time.
My mum always used to say, "So how do you cook that? What do I do? Write it all down for me." I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. I just go and do
Mm,
it. It's like it's just what we learn to do as a chef. I mean, it's not always. I can give you a general idea, but
A
yeah.
bit of this,
mm.
a bit of that, and a bit of this. Cool, what's the right
A little
flavor?
bit of sugar.
I don't know how much to put into each.
Mm, my mother's
Bit of
my
MSG.
mother's the
Mm.
same. She can just cook. She'll just go, and I'm like, all right, how many cups of this did you put in? She's like, I don't know. I just toss it.
That
Measure it with
that's
your
me.
measure it with
That's
your
me.
heart.
That's me when I'm making Play-Doh. I've made it that many times that I can literally just grab the flour and just pour it in the bowl and go, yeah, that's right. And then grab the salt. Yeah, that's about right. And then I'll put the water in oil and then it might be too sticky. And I'm like, can someone just add a little bit more flour in it? And I'll mix it. And I go, yeah, that's enough. Mix it and then it's done. And it's perfect every single time.
And you would make that quite a bit as well, being in childhood education too, because it doesn't keep that
Yeah,
long because of the germs and stuff too.
yeah.
And I
I
I
love
don't know
making it.
if you'll all agree with me, but when something says put 1 clove of garlic in, I assume that that's a typo and it's meant to be 10 cloves of garlic.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or like I'm lazy and use a jar stuff quite a bit just because of like the ease of it as well.
Yeah, I use garlic.
It says
I
one,
use garlic as
like,
well.
at least two
I
or
love the
three.
satisfaction of pounding the garlic with a pestle and mortar.
Well, I made my
I'm
Sometimes
lazy.
I'm a
sometimes I take my
Come and be an apprentice, Janu, and yeah, get someone to give you a bag of garlic, and then you go and crush it. See how
yeah,
you feel
maybe not.
afterwards.
But sometimes if I'm frustrated with my NF or something, I'm just like,
The other day I made my own red wine brew at home because we had some leftover wine that wasn't fantastic. And so
Ooh.
it took longer than I thought it would, but anyway, it was cooked enough
well
for dinner.
done.
Oh
I
yeah,
I
I,
I think we need to go to a caravan park, holiday park, whatever you want to call it, and have a cook-off between all of
Oh.
us.
Or we just try and utilize my relays who've got a commercial kitchen in their warehouse.
See,
Yeah,
see, I'd
and
be
we
tempted
just all cook something for each other.
I'd be tempted to cook you
but
guys.
it's so subjective as well, though.
Yeah. I'd be tempted to cook you guys something Sri Lankan, but now I'm worried it's going to kill Kirsty with one of her allergies.
So for most of my allergies, I can take any history, and I've been given medical advice around how to manage them at camps and stuff.
Okay.
The big
Yeah.
thing is the gluten, because that one I can't take anything to manage.
Yeah.
Can you
But
take GluGuard?
I've
Because
tried.
there is,
I've
you've
tried.
tried it.
It doesn't do anything.
Oh.
I still get a reaction from gluten because I get a rash, which they're like, no, you're not celiac. I'm like, So it's kind of like the
Mm.
NF stuff where you're like, yeah, let's self-advocate for allergies because the doctors just
Yeah.
aren't helpful at
Yeah.
times.
So we've got very little time left of the recording. So how about we wrap up here? So
Yes.
go ahead, Kirsty, you go first.
See you on the flip side, Rebels.
Just remember, you're not alone. Bye.
And water along, Pebbles Rebels.
And if you want to join us and share your story on our podcast, please drop us a DM. All our DMs are open. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn,
TikTok.
TikTok, and you can watch hear these episodes on Spotify. And are we on Apple yet, Kirsty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are on Apple.
So we're on Apple as well.
Yes.
So please drop us a DM and join the rebellion.
Bye.
Water along, Pebbles Rebels.
And if you want to join us and share your story on our podcast, please drop us a DM. All our DMs are open. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn,
TikTok.
TikTok, and you can hear these episodes on Spotify. And are we on Apple yet, Kirsty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are on Apple.
So we're on Apple as well.
Yes.
So please drop us a DM and join the rebellion.
Bye.